Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. The anti-consumer nature of paid exclusives in gaming, more commonly known as platform exclusives or console exclusives, is a well-known and oft-lamented phenomenon in gaming, and it would seem that Epic Games and Deep Silver are engaging in such practices on the PC. I would like to take a brief moment out of this story to notify everyone that the beta version of my new website is over at SidAlpha.com. There will be some finishing touches to add, but there will be links to my videos. I've also included a contact form which will automatically send to my submissions at SidAlpha.com email address, and there are also links to my merch store at Designed by Humans, as I've had this for quite some time, but I still end up with people asking me when I will have merch. Bear in mind, those aren't just shirts, they're mugs, stickers, phone cases, prints, all manner of good stuff. I suggest you go check it out, and don't forget to bookmark SidAlpha.com. I'll be continuing to find more and more interesting things to do with the site as time progresses. Also, the project load at my day job is thankfully going to be about done as of about 8 to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, so hopefully here soon I will be able to get back to a more regular video upload schedule. So thank you everyone for being patient with me. It's been a rough month. Now back to the matter at hand. As always, I will provide links to the sources used down in the description below. Deep Silver announced on January 28th that their upcoming game Metro Exodus would have any future sales halted on the Steam platform, as Deep Silver had partnered with Epic Games to have the PC version of the game distributed on that platform in a one-year timed distribution exclusive. Now in that announcement, Deep Silver also stated that any pre-order sales and pre-order bonuses on the Steam platform that had already taken place would be honored completely. They also stated that anyone that had already pre-ordered the game would not be prevented from purchasing any DLC packages as they're released, and also that all DLC would be released simultaneously on all distribution platforms. Deep Silver also assured gamers that there would be no difference between the versions of the game on the Epic storefront and on Steam. They then ended their statement by claiming Metro Exodus would return to Steam after their timed exclusive with Epic Games expires on February 14th, 2020. Now, in response to this, Valve posted a notice on the Metro Exodus Steam storefront page stating that they feel this decision is unfair to Steam customers. Then on January 31st, on the website Gameru.net, a staff member of Deep Silver that goes by Skynet posted their dissatisfaction over the vocal outrage over the timed exclusive. Now in that post, Skynet said in not so many words that despite some gamers feeling they're boycotting the game over this decision would put greedy developers in their place, it would instead merely push Deep Silver more towards simply not releasing future Metro games on PC. Then, seemingly in response to the new outrage that the Skynet post created, Deep Silver made a statement earlier today via Twitlonger in which they explained the thought process behind that one developer's statement, and they reaffirmed that this statement, while understandable given the circumstances, was not the opinion of Koch Media, Deep Silver, or 4A Games, and that a PC version of the Metro series will continue to remain within their plans. And so that is a very basic overview of the situation and the facts surrounding the outrage, and there's also some different avenues to unpack regarding all of this. First, there is the concept of paid exclusivity, distribution exclusivity, and the varying degrees of outrage that go along with that. Then there are the concepts surrounding what is best for the developers, what Epic Games is attempting to accomplish, how they're going to go about that, and then ultimately what is best for gamers overall. Now, in regards to exclusivity, I would like to point out this is a topic that I've covered on my channel numerous times in the past, most recently surrounding the Microsoft Windows Store and its combination with the Xbox Store, how PlayStation has been handling its gated community mentality, how Valve fits into the equation, and it's all a bit of a mess, really. You see, there has always been one very wonderfully pro-consumer aspect of PC gaming, as there is no way for the large corporations to enforce hardware exclusivity the way they do quite easily with consoles, and at the heart of the console war has always been the concept of the paid exclusive. The paid exclusive is where Microsoft or Sony tells a game developer or publisher, we will pay you X number of dump trucks laden with gold for you to produce your game on our console and not our competitors. This is one of the main driving factors for console sales, as a matter of fact, and it is horrendously anti-consumer as it requires one purchasing an additional console in order to gain access to that console's titles. The same cannot be said for PC, where there isn't even an operating system exclusivity. The concept of hardware exclusivity is a complete impossibility in that environment. The only way any of these corporations could even hope to begin enforcing that sort of exclusivity is to enforce distribution exclusivity. After all, if you can't control the operating system, control the store. Now, this is a concept that Microsoft has been well aware of and has been attempting to implement since the days of Windows Vista, although up until recently they were so completely inept at it that any attempt they made was all but completely futile. It's also well known, especially amongst PC gamers, that the idea of paid exclusives as a method to push console sales is exceptionally anti-consumer, and that concept has so completely poisoned the minds of gamers that any idea of a paid distribution exclusive is going to be met with quick and severe backlash. It's about as unavoidable as a Star Wars fan responding with "General Kenobi" when you say "hello there." Except in this case, when this ends up coming down to a battle between Epic Games and Steam, the comparisons being drawn to the anti-consumer nature of console exclusives is partially inaccurate. The reason for that is, despite whichever distributor the game is sold on, I can still get it on my PC. It doesn't matter if it's on Steam, if it's on GOG, if it's on the Epic launcher, Origin, the Bethesda launcher, or any of the others out there, Discord. I can still install the game on my PC without purchasing any additional hardware. No second console, no additional controllers for that console if I happen to need them, no nothing. And that is indeed the case, as I've seen some people actually get upset that the game isn't on Steam solely for the simple fact that they don't want to install a different launcher on their PC. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. However, they're forcing you to install a launcher that you don't want to use doesn't in and of itself make it wholly anti-consumer. There's nothing wrong for you to want all of your games in a single launcher. It makes life easier. There are fewer accounts to deal with, fewer usernames to remember, fewer password resets to have to worry about, and the like, and that is, at its very essence, merely nothing more than basic human nature. But ultimately, it's nothing new on PC, especially when it comes to the AAA publishers deciding to avoid the costs involved with selling their games on third-party distribution when they can keep more of the profits by maintaining their own launchers. EA's Origin, Bethesda, Battle.net, the Windows storefront, it's no surprise to see larger companies wish to follow suit. Now, Epic Games had the resources to do the same thing, but remember that they are the creators of the Unreal Engine, and so they've not been a game development-focused company for quite some time, and with the golden goose that Fortnite has provided them, they've decided to capitalize on all of that income with a long-form view that includes investing massively into becoming a distribution platform. And I'm going to take a moment and look at all of this from the perspective of Epic Games for a moment. Now, imagine you just decided to open up your launcher and become a third-party distributor. How do you get people to buy games through your storefront when faced against the titan of PC distribution that is Valve? Well, you have to come up with a way to get people to buy games from your storefront. Okay, well, how do you do that? Well, there are really only a couple of viable methods for Epic Games to be able to do so. The first option is what I'm sure a lot of people have already stated as a preferred option, which would be to undercut the sales price of Valve. Except you have to remember that the developers are the ones that set the sale price, not the distributors. But hold on, what if the distributor takes a smaller cut? Then the developers would be able to sell the game for less on the Epic storefront. Except when you think about that, can you imagine how that would go for the developers? If they were selling their game for different prices based upon which app you had installed on your PC, you wouldn't be very happy about that, would you? You see, they could more likely get away with that sort of thing if it were a difference between, say, digital distribution versus physical copy, as it's extremely easy to grasp that obviously an actual game disc will be far more expensive to produce than the infinitely replicatable digital good. However, varying prices will never go well for the developers, and so given a difference in costs paid out to the distributors, the developers will still opt for maintaining a price parity in order to avoid player outrage when given the opportunity. And so you end up with an established storefront and a new storefront competing with each other, where the games, at least the vast majority of them, will be exactly the same price and will be exactly the same no matter which one is used, no matter which platform is used, no matter which distribution is used. It's still going to be the same game for the same price. So then we're right back to the question of the minds of Epic Games of how do we get people to start buying games through our storefront? Because I can guarantee you, all things being equal, people will invariably be highly resistant to switching. All of their games are already in Steam. Their library is there. That's where they're used to going. People are generally hesitant and resistant to change. What if they offered a more curated games list? Well, that will certainly help, and I for one would shout their praises from the mountaintops if they proved to be the downfall of asset flippers and fake game sellers. But that still would not draw very many eyes to their storefront. I'm sure it would draw some, but not many. The only viable option for them would be to have something that Steam doesn't have, and that means a form of distribution exclusivity. PC gamers can still play their games on the PC, but Epic Games wants to succeed, so they need to draw eyes. They need to have games that aren't on the Steam storefront, but they also need to incentivize developers to bring their games to just the Epic Store and not to Steam. Which there's only one way that you'll be able to entice a developer away from the largest digital distribution platform on PC, pay them enough money or more than what they would expect they would have gotten from the Steam platform, and offer better rates to further entice others. That's basically going to be the only way they can do that. But is it anti-consumer? Well, yes and no. Yes, insofar as Epic Games is paying game developers in order to obtain distribution exclusivity. At the end of the day, there is simply no sugarcoating that fact. However, unlike with console exclusives, one need not go out and spend several $100s just to play the game. One need only install an app. Realistically, though, this is the only way for distribution platforms to be able to come into serious competition with Steam, is to provide games that Steam simply does not have. And while I know a lot of people don't like this reality of the business world, it is also the only way that Valve will ever see true competition in the PC market. Right now, Valve has a pseudo-monopoly on PC games distribution, and while a lot of people hate the concept of having to go to a different launcher, or they hate the idea of paid exclusives, or they hate this entire topic for whatever reason, the end result here will hopefully end up in true competition for Steam. For years now, Valve has been the biggest distributor on PC, and they've cruised through their existence over the past several years while allowing their storefront to slowly devolve into the wasteland of asset flips and fake games that infest the site and account for now a majority of the titles on that platform. Competition would hopefully force them to wake up and begin investing in not only their own storefront, but in a better experience for indie developers and gamers alike. Competition in the PC gaming market will result in more storefronts having to be installed. That is a simple reality. But as for the paid timed distribution exclusive, well, that comes down to whether an anti-consumer practice can end up resulting in a pro-consumer benefit. I, for one, hope that it does. We certainly do need it. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time.